So what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
Hi.
Hi.
So,
Us or them?
oh yeah, them. How are you guys doing? Please leave in the comments. Please leave comments.
Please leave comments. Don't
About
leave.
how you're doing.
Don't get to the comments and be like, yeah, I'm
Please
done
leave
here.
comments about how you're doing.
That.
That's
Wow. We needed
Words.
that.
articulation.
Hi, I'm Derek. I'm the annoying, obstinate, lovable one.
Right.
The truth.
That too. And then we've got, who are we going to introduce first? Lizzie. Lizzie gets to go first. She's over there.
That's technically second.
The response.
Hi.
And Matata.
Hi.
And then we've got the infamous Carlene.
Infamous K.
Yeah, Miss K. Anyways.
Infamous K.
Professor K.
Professor K.
I like
Professor
Infamous
K. Oh, I like that. That's like a superhero or something. That's a X-Men. Professor K.
Infamous K sounds like a perfume brand. Infamous
Ooh.
K.
Oh, we could do that, right? No, nope. That face says no.
Don't you look at me like that, okay? You take that tone of voice right out of your face.
I cannot help it.
Take that tone of voice right out of your
Don't
face.
take that tone of look with me.
All right, so Carlene came at us with the topic this week.
Yeah, she beat us down with it, really.
Yeah, she really did. She said, "You're doing this." No, she said, "I don't know," and then she came up with a good topic. So,
Text me 20 years later. Like,
yeah,
I'm just waking up. I don't know.
right. How about, she says, biblical counseling and mental health. So today we're going to talk a little bit about
Biblical counseling and mental health.
Yeah, that comes about. I mean, mental health is something that is on everybody's minds these days. I'm a little more old school with some of that. I mean, I do think some people definitely need some mental health.
Yeah, if it's
help.
not on your mind, it probably is your mind. So.
And so, but I'm a little different. I'm one of those suck it up kind of guys. And I know that doesn't work for everything. I do understand that, and I understand that doesn't work for everybody. But I do think that the world could use a little bit more suck it up.
Buttercup.
Yeah. Suck it up, buttercup. You have no idea how many times I tell my daughter that daily. Suck it up, buttercup. But hey, she's a lovable kid.
She is. I have to agree.
I'm probably gonna have to pay for counseling at some point, but
You probably will. For yourself.
very possibly.
Yeah.
In fact, if you could suggest someone.
I-
Anyways,
in another 2 years, that will be me. I will be glad to counsel you.
Okay, cool. Can you do that? Can you counsel somebody that's that close to you?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Can you do it effectively?
Yeah.
Of course.
Actually, sometimes there's an advantage in it.
Yeah.
Really?
You
Yeah.
have to be unbiased.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say. Well,
You have, yes.
you have to
that-
be unbiased.
But you have to also, I mean, sometimes it gives you insights, and you can
True.
work with people a little
That
bit
makes
better
sense. Yeah.
and hold them more accountable, which is cool. But yeah, the unbiasedness
Maintaining.
isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody can put on the front when they're in front of
Of
like, when
course.
it's just the two of you.
But I know who you are. You know?
Yeah.
I know
So.
you.
I'm down. Let me know.
I know you're
So you need guinea pig.
Yeah, I'll be.
You
I'll,
can't get any worse.
I'm your Huckleberry. We had Huckleberry muffins this morning. Was it this
This
morning?
is the second
Yeah.
time that came up today.
It's so good. It was different, but it was good. So, yeah, that's going to be the topic today, and welcome to the Truth Response.
Yeah.
So, Lizzie's going to pray for us today.
Yay,
Yay,
Lizzie.
Lizzie.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time that we get to gather and talk about the truth of what you've revealed to us in our lives and in our walk with you. thank you for making us mental, and thank you for letting us have a vast variety of personalities and just lives and everything, so that we can learn from each other and we can grow together. In Jesus' name, pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now, I know this was a topic that you came up with, but I remember being in college and being one of those people that thinks, like, counseling, that's for people who need help, right? Like, that's not for me. That's for, like, people who are messed up. And until I became that person who was, like, uncontrollably being mean to everyone around me.
You needed help.
And I decided to suck it up and go to counseling. And was like, oh. And the only thing I got out of it was willpower. It means a lot in your life. And so I just had to decide I was going to change my attitude towards people. I'm not saying that's the only thing anybody gets out of it, but I'm saying for me personally. And it also removed the stigma from it that, like, counseling's for people who are really jacked up or anything like that. It was, counseling can be good for anybody. Like, you could be doing pretty good and just check in with a counselor and be like, hey, like,
Sometimes you need a mental
just
check.
need some bouncing things off of somebody, you know, like.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's
So-
also important to realize that sometimes you just can't do everything yourself.
Yeah.
I once went for counseling, and the guy that was my counselor, he and I are kind of friends now, and we became friends because he looked at me one day and he said, I can't have the conversations that I have with you with all my patients. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, because you get it. You already know all this stuff. He said, but I can't have these conversations. Most people, they're not there. And I was like, well, that's the thing. I said, I've done this, but I can't do it for myself.
Yeah.
And so I needed somebody else to do this with me. And I think what's important is, like, so from that mentality you talked about, when you go from, well, that's only for people who need it. Well, yeah, that's it. Part's always true. But that's not me. Well, sometimes you don't know that until you're willing to be a little introspective and allow yourself to give yourself permission to go, I think there might be something here.
Yeah, even if it's just like having someone to be like, okay, I'm going to do a self-assessment, but out loud, and just having somebody to listen to your self-assessment. I mean, even if it's not somebody who's, like, paid to do it.
Right.
I mean, at the very least, it's really helpful to be at that point where...
I mean, like, think about it like this. Okay, so you say, you know, when you first encountered that, it was, okay, that's for people who are really messed up, that they need that,
Right.
But isn't that the same thing that we deal with as Christians? Like, with Christianity and getting to know God, you sometimes, you know, people are like, I don't need God. You know, that's for people who's really messed up, that they're dying or whatever, you know, that they need God. So in a sense, it's the same thing. And that's why, for me, this topic is closer to home, where I'm more freely to talk about it. So now I get to face my demons, as well as, you know, you guys get to know a little bit more about me as far as that, you know. So it's a topic nobody really wants to touch because they don't know how to handle it.
Well,
Yeah.
and then I think of, like, my parents' generation and then my grandparents' generation. You didn't talk about it.
It was
No.
the suck it up
Yeah,
generations,
you
right?
didn't, Like,
Yeah.
you didn't, and, like, it's what the church ladies talked about behind your back.
Yes.
Yes. Like, oh, they went to counseling, or
Right.
oh, they had to go see somebody,
That's
or
right.
oh,
That's
you know.
right.
Yeah. For some people, just admitting that there might be something you need
Which,
help with
Mhm.
is, like, they'd rather cut their toe off, man. Like, it's crazy
Yeah.
that
Well-
they're afraid to be a little
And-
vulnerable.
I think some of it goes back to, like, the stigmas of, like, the mental hospitals and how atrocious, you know,
I mean,
places
look at,
those were.
what was it?
and,
One
you
flew
know,
over the cuckoo's nest.
Like,
Yeah.
They do that. They do CT, where it's electroconvulsive therapy.
Yeah.
They do that, and it does work for some people. But, you know, you see that type of stuff, and it's like, is that how people really walk around naked and playing with their feces and acting this type of way? And it can get like that, but it's not like that.
I mean, it wasn't too long ago that they were doing lobotomies and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
which is where they stick a needle in your freaking, or either
up into
eye
the
socket and
occipital, optical lobe, and they get all in there, and it's like,
They just
scramble
play
your
for a while.
brain, right? Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But then they realize, that's not really working.
Just like
Well-
the like really bad drugs and stuff that were in, like the coke that was in all the medicine and stuff like that. Probably
Yep.
not a good thing either.
Yeah, that didn't work either.
well, it's a
Let's try
little
something
different
else.
then too, though.
Here's something for your nerves. It's got a little bit of.
Yeah.
It's got mostly
So-
alcohol and
It's got a little black
opioids in it.
tar, heroin in there. It's
And
fine.
also, like, I didn't research the dates, but, when the barbers did bloodletting, right, they believed, too, that was a way that you can get that
The bad humors out.
mental
Yeah.
part of you out by literally
Now-
draining out blood.
Okay. In all fairness, isn't there some health benefits to some of that?
To, like, bloodletting?
Yeah. Well, not like, I mean, but
Well,
like
you can't take blood out of your body and not put it back.
your body can't create it more.
You need to put it back if you're losing it.
Your body doesn't create it though.
It does, but not as fast as you need it.
Well, sure.
Right now, if you have a upper GI bleed
Mhm.
or a lower GI bleed, they have to put that blood back because your levels get affected by that.
Right. So it effectively there's some treatments where they take the blood out, they do whatever to it, and then
Well,
funnel it
and now
back
you're
in.
going about dialysis. That's something totally different.
Sure,
You know.
but they haven't always been able to do that safely.
No.
So I mean, to some degree, I mean, I know that we're now in a more modern time,
Right.
but at one point, it probably did help things because it's what they had.
A lot of people died
I'm sure a lot of people died. A
because-
whole lot more people died
because they
from
didn't know.
everything.
Yeah, of course.
before,
of
you know,
course.
like-
but a lot of people did die because of the simple fact you did not replace what you took out.
Right.
So you have to replace that. Your body
Well, I mean,
can't.
Well, I
make it
donate
that.
blood. I mean, like,
That's
you
a
know.
different story. You're not donating how much blood you think you're doing. Bloodletting, they were letting out a lot of blood. That was a lot of blood. A lot. You might donate a pint, but you see, they know. With you donating blood, there's a certain threshold.
So
you can
okay,
go to.
I
but
mean, it's like when they took Serenity in for her blood testing. There was like, this is how much we can take at a time for her. For
Correct.
That.
right.
And we can only do this many tests if that's all the blood she
Correct.
can have.
Correct.
Luckily-
Correct.
luckily
Because you
she
have
was-
to give your
She's
body
a
that
bigger
time
girl, so it was enough.
to replenish it. You
Sure.
see, so if you say, okay,
which is
we're
why you
only gonna
can't
take,
do it again for so many weeks. I get that.
Correct.
But does that actually help your body though? Like, does that have a healthy side effect to your body at all?
If you really think about it, it's already going through your whole body. So you letting go of 3 ounces of blood, what do you think that's going to do?
I don't know. I'm not the doctor.
Nothing. It's still there. It's still there. So what they thought when they originally did bloodletting, it was because people would have these headaches.
I guess I'm thinking of
and
leeches more than bloodletting, but
leeches are a little bit different. Leeches are to get rid of disease, like a disease
does that work?
part.
Yeah. In some ways, yeah.
I don't deal with leeches.
Oh, come on.
Never thought
Anyways.
about dealing with leeches.
I know we're off topic a little bit, but
Wait.
well, I mean,
No.
a little bit.
We really weren't off topic. We were on that.
Crazy medical things that people did because people were crazy or having some mental health issues
Yeah, or physical,
or physical
Yeah.
issues, but
Yeah. But nowadays, everything is a pill. There's a pill for everything. And a lot of people, they're creating these people who are going to be worse on this medication.
yeah.
Right? Because you ever listen to the side effects of some of this medication that they talk about?
Yeah, but I feel
So
like
if
a lot
I'm
of those.
if I'm suicidal, why would I want to take a pill that's going to make me more suicidal?
But I almost feel like they list a lot of that stuff
Because
to
they
save
have
their
to.
butts.
Yes.
Right. Where it probably doesn't have that side effect very often at all.
Well, I mean, who's to know? The thing that
That's
gets
true.
me is like when they're like, "Don't
Especially
take this
when
medicine
it's-
if you're allergic to this medicine." It's like, how do you know that until you take it?
Correct.
And exactly how allergic are you talking? Like,
Right. Are you talking anaphylactic?
Yeah.
Are you talking that I'm just going to snap? What are you talking about? There's different levels of being allergic to a medication. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily have to be in a physical sense where you bust out in hives. It could be something mental, like lucid dreams.
Oh,
You
let's
know.
not go there.
There's-
That's a topic for a different day.
There are some women
I'll let you in on some of my craziness, but
there are some women that the Mirena is an IUD, an intrauterine device, which is meant to prevent pregnancy. And some women have been on that, myself being one, where it was, and this was a long time ago, that the dreams became crazy. They were lucid. Like, I literally would be driving, and I would see myself veering off the side of the road. That's how it manifested. So come to find out, it was some of the medications in it that were interacting with the chemicals in your body that made that happen. So you see what I'm saying? It's like everything that they create does create a problem with it,
Yeah, it's like putting a Band-Aid on one place and then another leak pops up somewhere else.
Yeah, if you get rid of an abscess on one side, you'll get another abscess because you hadn't fully taken care of it, and it's going to pop up somewhere else,
So I've had doctors tell me, like, we want to put you on this medication for a short time,
Mm-hmm.
address the issues so that you don't need this medication.
And try to wean you off of
So,
it.
like, how does that fit into some of that medication talk? Because it's still, medication's not necessarily great for you, right? Like,
No, not all the time. I'm not a firm believer in antibiotics. You can structure your body to the things that you eat to fight off infection. But there are some medications that will help with some things, like Synthroid. If you had to have your thyroid removed, this is a medication that you do need because it's created to mimic what your thyroid does. So
which is a lot of stuff.
it does do a lot
It
of
does a
stuff.
lot of stuff.
So
Including
you need that.
what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Very much.
Exactly. So there are some good points to medications that you do need to have it, and of course with everything, they can try it and see how it goes, but sometimes they tell you don't stop it abruptly. You have to wean yourself off of it.
I'm going to throw a curveball at Matt. What's the
Alright,
Bible
Matt.
say about medications?
Medication?
Yeah, there's a lot of Christians out there that are like, oh, no medications. The Bible is against that. Religious reasons, yada yada yada. What does the Bible actually have to say about that?
Well, there are different treatment. Even Jesus mentions treatments to different things. So medications, in a general sense, there's qualified uses for being but the kind of pharmaceuticals we use now are not like that. We have stuff that's
Processed like
Well,
50 bazillion times.
it's just so different.
Synthetic?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're talking about healing balms and different things that people would. It's usually dietary or topical that they would be taking more than anything else. When you have differences of salts, honey, and different mixtures, tonics of that were not like they're basically just trying to extract through different ways stuff from plants in order to get it. It was more botanical and less medical, if that makes sense.
You mean less chemical?
I guess more.
Mm-hmm.
Or chemically created, like synthetic?
Yeah. So
Created in a lab.
it's weird because often and here's what I'll say about it. When it comes to natural versus created, right? It's amazing how conditioned we now are as a people. to put things in our body without having a clue of really what all is going to happen.
Yeah.
And we know this. And if you want the simplest example that we have no idea what we're doing sometimes, when they have a medicine commercial about if you're taking another medicine and now you need this medicine because you're taking that medicine, it's right there. It's obvious right in front of your face. Well, you're taking this medicine and it's giving you this reaction, so now you got to take that medicine. There was a
They
woman
do it a lot for mental health medications.
Yeah, and they'll combine different. I'm missing the word that we would call medical or mental stuff.
Antipsychotics?
Thank you.
Yeah.
It just wasn't coming to me.
That's
Antipsychotic medications, they'll say they have to put them in combination in order to get them
with
to
an
get.
antidepressive.
Yeah.
So you usually do an antipsychotic and antidepressive, and then you would do something else in there.
Yeah, I know somebody who she was on 2 different antidepressive medications, a migraine medication. She was flirting with alcohol too much and
Smoking too, right?
smoking, vaping, and started having
And
seizures.
caffeine.
And
Well, right there, the caffeine with the sumatriptan, if that's what she was, or Fioricet, whatever she
So-
was taking with the migraine medication, right there, those two don't go together.
and well, come to find out, it was actually the antidepressants and the migraine medication that were
Interacting.
fighting each other
Mhm.
and causing her to have seizures. And so, like, the neurologist was like,
You gotta get
"You're
off of
shutting.
it.
We're taking everything out. We're not doing any of it." And the psychiatrist or whomever, I don't know, psychiatrists, the ones that are able to prescribe medication.
Yeah.
Okay, so her psychiatrist came in at the hospital and put her back on those medications immediately, and the nurse had the wherewithal to call the neurologist. He was in his car on his way home. He turned around and came back to the hospital and gave the psychiatrist a butt chewing and took her back off of it.
Yeah.
And it's so you're right. There's some psychiatrists, some counselors out there that are just so ready to mix a cocktail.
Push, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's where it gets dangerous. I mean, with any kind of medication, mixing cocktails is can really mess you up. So back in 2008, my appendix started leaking, and it was not good. They had to go in there and emergency surgery and beat me up. All that to tell you that afterwards they couldn't keep my pain under control, so they kept trying. From what I understand, because all I remember is pain and momentary relief, different cocktails on me. I try to get me under control until finally they found something that worked. Well, a couple problems with that. Number one, I have no idea what they were pumping through me, and so I don't know everything that it did do. But I do know this, that if I had since that day in 2000, or that time in 2008, if I take certain medicines that are too much like a pain medicine, not like a ibuprofen or anything, but like, then I get irritated and angry, and my body does not like being anywhere near it, and I'm like, it's like my whole body's got PTSD. It's like, I don't know, no, we're not going through this again. It's a crazy, crazy thing. So you were talking about, biblical treatments. And, I think there's something to be said for the fact that not only are we creating sometimes maybe we're making the wrong medicines or pushing things too far, but we're also creating some of our own problems. If you look at Jesus' example, for instance, and things he modeled for us, he demonstrated patterns of rest. He demonstrated recharging himself even without his disciples around. He demonstrated reliance on the Father instead of our own abilities. Even at a time where when Luke writes that he was basically sweating blood through his anguish, which we now know is a medical thing that happens when you have such anxiety that the blood will actually come out through your sweat glands. Through that anxiety, he was reaching out to God more. He wasn't reaching out to anything else. You know, we tend to turn to, instead of turning to God for our rest, for our counseling, for our stress, for everything else that we're trying to put on ourselves, we're in a society that tells you to keep putting that on yourself and then just take medicine and get through. You know, I'm not trying to pick on you because I fell into it too, but why do you think energy drinks are so popular?
Oh, sure.
I worked myself all day. When I got in energy drinks, I was driving a truck working all day long, and I was pumping them through my body. And I'd got to the point where for years after that, I was deathly addicted to this stuff. I drink so much. I don't even know what I was throwing into my body chemical-wise with all these energy drinks. I was just, anyone that would give me the buzz I needed to stay alert.
Sure.
Until they weren't doing it anymore. So
your body acclimated to it.
Exactly.
As with everything. Why do you think they keep increasing the dosage? Because your body acclimates, you know.
Yeah, and as my wife has found out more about, because she's getting into, she's kind of an herbalist and she's getting into dietary stuff, and honestly, I don't do her justice because she's way smarter at all that stuff than I am. But as she's learning about deficiencies and what they do when it comes to certain vitamins, it seems kind of obvious to us right now that I caused a problem in myself. Because a lot of vitamins that are pumped into these things are vitamin B.
Right.
I was pumping that stuff excess through my body, and now I have vitamin B deficits that are causing problems within me. And it's, as she's researching, she's like, this is it.
So I'm going to tell you right off the back. When you do things to your body that your body naturally does, your body gets lazy and it doesn't want to do it. So our body naturally does vitamin B. If you're pumping your body full of vitamin B, guess what? Your body's like, well, what do I got to work extra?
It's not my job anymore.
Right, like, why I got to work extra on it?
And that's part of my problem right now.
Well, I mean, obvious ones that, I mean, is indisputable is sugar, right? Sugar, diabetes, we got to then have insulin to because your body stops making it because you too much sugar intake, right? Testosterone. Yeah. People who are trying to get jacked and they're pumping themselves full of testosterone, their body stops making it. In fact, that can lead to blood clots in your body that can kill you if you take it too much. So like, I mean, those are some popular ones, that are indisputable that happen. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it with the B vitamins or other things that your body does naturally?
What's worse for me is that when I was doing this stuff, I was putting myself in high adrenaline situations. I was competing in skateboarding. I hate to admit this. I was a street racer. I was constantly chasing high adrenaline situations, and then pumping this stuff through my body. My body has no idea what to do with this stuff now. Without me pumping that in all the time, and now. Lizzie was there the other day. Just if I take myself off, if I don't drink coffee for 2 days, until I can get through that detox period, which is hard for me, but I'll get headaches. My body's like, you're missing something that you keep.
It's the same thing.
You promised us this.
It's the same thing with sugar.
But at the same time, for me, I've also learned that it's devil's advocate because I prefer coffee still. I've gotten off of coffee and gotten away from it. And I still nope, I'm going back because I don't, from all the things that my wife has introduced me to, I don't get the same thing I need to get myself and my brain moving in the morning.
So
it's terrible.
Does that explain your facial expressions being the way they are, or was that a thing before all of that?
My facial expressions have always had.
Okay. I just asking.
It's nothing.
No, so that wasn't the actual point I wanted to, but I definitely needed to have that jab in there because yeah. Anyways, so
this coming from the man with a bun in his hair.
I do. I think that one of the biggest problems with our society today is the fact that we we don't know self-control when it comes to things.
Well, and we want the
Because
easy
a little
fix.
bit of something is okay. A little something crazy sometimes is all right. But when we do it, right? Our society today, it's not like I had an energy drink 6 months ago. It's I had an energy drink 6 minutes ago. You know, like, and it's a constantly putting that into our bodies. Like, our body can handle, like, for instance, alcohol. Most bodies can handle a little bit of alcohol every once in a while.
Some
Well,
can't
that's
even
true.
handle
Some
it.
cannot. But most bodies can handle a little bit of alcohol every once in a while. But ones that you're getting in all the time, that can be a huge mess. Drug addicts, they build that tolerance like you were talking about, and the doses go up and up and up. They go to jail. Their tolerance comes back down here. When they get out, they do this, they die. That's something I see quite literally all the time. So I'm sure you do, yeah. So we have this excess problem and this extreme
Go big or don't go at all.
that and no self-control
Yeah.
in our society.
And I think too, it's like, if I can take a medication, that means I don't have to get to the root of the actual problem.
But if I can take a medication, I don't have to explain my
Yeah.
actions.
Yeah.
You understand?
And then
So if I do
my
something
medication
stupid-
could eventually become the excuse for my actions.
Correct.
What's interesting enough is that I noticed a few years back that acceptance of mental issues came through the acceptance of the medication before it came through the acceptance that people needed help. If you paid attention to how people talked about depression, anxiety, stuff like that, there was a justification that you were on medication.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everybody needs a little help. We're glad that you found what you needed. Not that you needed help, because nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wanted to take this time and go, dude, maybe you need some more time off, or maybe you need to talk. I'll be here for you. Oh, we can understand that you need to take a medication. Get on with your life like the rest of us, because we're all running that rat race we're told to run, and so we collapse.
Well, I mean, look at the asylums that got shut down all over the country, right? Like, that is not a priority. Your getting better has not been a priority.
No.
But, and I hate to sound like...
It's been a moneymaker. Like,
I was going to say, I hate to sound like, a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but, like, it's the drugs that want to sell instead of
there's
making
still
people
some that's
better.
there, there's still
Well,
some that's there,
I'm not
but-
saying across the
but,
board, but...
So here's the thing. Mental health is prevalent.
Yeah.
Authentic mental health is prevalent. Not the, I just want to get a check every month so I don't got to work. There are a lot of those going on.
Sure.
Okay. And COVID kind of brought out a couple of those too. Like, I get a check by sitting here saying I'm depressed. It's crazy. Okay, so I was diagnosed with bipolar at the age of 18. Still got it. Ain't going nowhere. It's just not as bad. And how I noticed that I think I needed to go see somebody was I would have these really, really high days and what they call manic days, and I'd be like, I can conquer the world. I can do everything. I got it. Fast talker. And then I would go, and then I would crash. So it's almost like being on those energy drinks.
Yeah.
You're way, way, way up here, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, before you even blink. And I would hit rock bottom, and I won't do anything. Nothing. I wouldn't shower. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't drink. I wouldn't sleep. I just wouldn't do anything. So one day I said, you know what, let me just go check and see what's going on. And I went and I talked to a psychologist first. You don't go straight to psychiatry.
What's the difference? Real quick.
Psychiatrists have their doctorate. They can prescribe medication for you. They know more of the diagnosis part. Psychologists are more, you go to them, you talk to them. They can do a little bit of the lower level things, not those high things like Haldol and Ativan and all that other stuff. They can't do that. So I went to see a psychologist, and I talked, and, you know, got some things out, and I didn't like what I was hearing out loud as me saying it. So they decided I should go see somebody else. So I went to go see somebody else, needless to say. A couple of times in between there, I attempted to kill myself, as they want to put it. Excessive pills, just randomly walking out into the middle of the street, not paying attention, that type of stuff. Standing at bridges, just looking over. And they put me on medication. So they put me on like 3 different medications. One medication is supposedly supposed to shut your brain off, because that was my problem. My brain kept going while I tried to sleep, so I never really got sleep. Still does it. Another medication that's supposed to make me, when I take it in the morning, I'm supposed to wake up and be like, hey, life is great. That didn't work. So I did that for a while, and I became this zombie. This is what this medication does. It turns you into a zombie so that you almost cannot think correctly. Your thought process is out the window. When you start to slow down like that, especially when you're supposed to be manic, and you slow down like that, then you start thinking other thoughts. So this medication puts these other thoughts in. I ended up finding out I was pregnant with my son, and I stopped. I said, I can't do this anymore. I stopped. And I had to find something else to do. So hence, I started to do a little bit more reading. I started to do other things other than thinking about that. I still had highs and lows. And it wasn't until I moved to Florida, and that's when I started to kind of change things. I started getting into cooking. So that's how I fine-tuned cooking, because I was able to focus and not have those highs and not have those lows. So now, you know how they say you got that middle? I'm a middle. I'm in the middle now. So where I don't get too low and I don't get too high. I still don't take any medication. But the things that I do now that help me focus: cake decorating, planning stuff, organizing, reading, writing, playing hidden object games, just simple things like that keep me away from getting on this medication.
So you're like me and use it differently, it sounds like, but you chase the dopamine. You find things that you just help you can focus on and get creative with, or research into, or learn, and it's such a dopamine release that you just keep chasing it. And I'm assuming that when you do this, you excel at everything that you start to really go at. Yep.
Hence why I moved to
I
the
do that.
ER.
That's because I'm an ADHD guy, and it really unlocks when my vitamin B levels are real low, apparently, because then my body just wants to chase. That's all it wants to do. If it's not dopamine releasing, I'm not going to get it. But because of that, like when I find something like that, you know, it's coming really handy, because as a minister, when I've gotten really into a book of the Bible, I like deep dive into it.
Right.
I find stuff that like everybody's like, how would you know this? And then just other aspects. When I got into cars, I learned how to blueprint cars in my mind, and I could just see how they would work backwards and forwards, and I started to see what they could be instead, and that's how I do art. I'm a painter. Bob Ross is actually not just a hero. I do his style of painting as well.
That's nice.
I can just pick up paint and just do it.
Well, here's where the difference between you and I might come in.
Yeah.
Once I learn it.
Oh, no, it stays. Yeah, mine, it's
still
locked.
there. I just, once I've learned
achieved
every
that.
aspect of it, it's like,
No, it stays in my toolbox, and I break it
move
out.
on to
and
the
it's
next.
I move on to something else. I have to keep going. Again, hence why I like the ER, because it's like I
always
see all
different.
different things. It's a
never the
constant
same.
do. Nursing, do. Reading, different things. It's forever changing. I'm a forever changer. I like change. Even in my house, ask Orlando. I'll move the spoons. In a year, I've moved the silverware 9 times.
You can't do that.
Says who?
Says
our
like
house, our rules.
history, man.
Yeah,
like
well,
you can't
history
do that.
don't play a part.
History doesn't pay her house bill.
Sure it doesn't. But no, that's what happens. Like,
She's probably
right.
got the cleanest spoon drawer.
Oh my gosh, that would drive me nuts because
Now,
I'd be
see,
like,
it's like that. I'll
I
get
can't
in
even
this
have a
mode.
spoon in my own house. Like that would it would drive me crazy.
I'll look.
Do you
at
make an announcement? Hey, I've moved the spoons,
No,
or do you
they'll
just let them
hear
find it?
They'll hear it.
Oh,
they'll
they'll
hear
hear
me.
it.
They'll hear me move.
They just
stuff.
know that that's what you're
slamming
doing.
it around.
All
They'll
right,
see
well,
me in the
when
kitchen
she's
do
done
this.
slamming things, we'll figure out where
Come out from hiding.
that move.
I come out and I'd be like, I don't like this, and then I start moving things. They don't say anything, but that
Well, don't come over to our
is-
house because like you won't like things.
even like my closet, like the organization of my closet, it's lengths and it's everything has got to be correct. Black shirts with black shirts. And
Oh,
blah, blah,
man.
blah, blah.
I need to have you come over and organize my D&D stuff.
I probably could.
Probably could. It's the wood. Anyway, so I am the opposite. Like it takes a lot for me to get challenged to do something.
Really?
Yeah. No,
that's
like
not it for me.
some things do like really
Mhm.
excite me as a challenge, but like I like the status quo. If I could live off of the status quo,
You'd be good to
If
go.
I didn't
Totally
marry
down
him,
with it.
I'm convinced he would still be living in his parents' basement.
I totally would, which
And he
would
would be
totally
okay with
okay
it.
because I was a responsible adult at the time. I just lived with my parents. There's nothing wrong with that. I just got out of college. All right, give me a break.
I give you that.
The problem is
For
you'd
now.
probably still be there if we weren't married.
But how is that a problem? Have you seen Southwest Florida? Everybody lives with their family because. Have you seen the prices of things most of the time? It's expensive.
You see, Callie still at home.
Well, so for me, it's like it
Kick
does.
that button gear.
I just have to find it's either interest or compulsion. So, and compulsion can come just because something's broken now and I have to get it fixed, or something I have to deal with a situation. So I'm compelled. I have to go into the situation. If it's an interest thing, that's even better because then suddenly I'm just unlocking a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for when it's like, for instance, like when I had never wired electrically anything in my life, and then one day my wife, we had this ceiling fan and the things kept breaking off of it. The pull chains, they just broke. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna have to happen. And a buddy of mine's like, just install this thing and you can use a remote control with it. And I was like,
yeah.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, you
Well,
buy a
I have to
regular
fix
spoon.
it. So I'm like, I've never done anything with this, so I'm going to try and figure it out. So I just started looking at it and started seeing how it was moving. And I was like, I think in my mind, that's just how my mind works. I start blueprinting it. Okay, so this is this, and this goes here, and this goes there. Okay. And it must work like this, kind of like a stream of water has got to keep moving. So, so I just figured out, and I rewired a ceiling fan with a new thing in it so I could use it on a remote.
See,
I'd
now-
never done it like that before, but I just started figuring out, and because I'm just like, oh, it's got to be this. And as long as I'm left alone, so that's the only thing.
Yeah.
That's the caveat.
Yeah.
Don't bug me.
Don't bug me.
If you let me hyper-focus, that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
That is my happy place. Especially if it's a job that I didn't want to start to begin with. Just let me do it. Like,
Okay, so I need to adjust what I said earlier. It's not that nothing interests me like that, like gets me excited like that. People. I don't care what I'm doing. Like, if I'm able to be with people, that energy, that excitement, that can drive me. But so that would drive me nuts. You leave me alone to do something, unless I failed at it for the last hour and a
Sometimes
half.
when he works on stuff, I'm just in there reading.
So if I have failed at it for the last hour and a half, then leave me alone. But before that, like I would rather have somebody in there that I'm talking with, because I don't know. I don't care about the doing the thing as much as the people that I'm doing it with.
If
I
I'm
don't-
talking to you, I can't focus.
yeah, I don't necessarily need someone there. Actually, if I need anything, sometimes I'll just turn on some music. There's been times where to clean my house, just so I had something to keep me out of my head too much, I'll put a movie on in the other room. Well, I won't even really watch it, but I'm listening to it, and it keeps me from getting too far into my own head, so that I can do
Law and
the
Order SVU is my friend. All the time. They know when you hear that doo-doo, guess what? Mom's gonna be doing something.
Right on.
No, I can't. That's.
You would just get distracted and sit down and watch it.
Oh yeah, for TV thing, yeah, for sure.
Oh, but
But-
at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
if I have to deal with my thoughts, I don't want anybody near me. I want everybody to leave me alone. And so, for instance, one of my
I
go-tos,
just don't
if
wanna
I'm
deal with
feeling
my
a little
thoughts.
pent up, when I'm feeling a little pent up and I need to deal with how I'm thinking about this and deal with my emotions,
Mhm.
I'll go wash the dishes. Because
Oh, I got dishes you can wash.
Stop. Because it's like I'm gonna fix this, and in the process of fixing this situation,
I'm thinking
right?
something.
I'm thinking through the situation just got me mad and how I feel about it, and I'm
I'm gonna need
dealing
you
with
to
it
go
all.
sit down and talk with my husband and let him know exactly. I'm not mad at you. I'm just into myself right now. Just let me think. Let me do my thing. My brain, that's how my brain functions also. I'll sit and I'll be like, all right, let's say I gotta look at something. I'll be like, you know what? Let me research this.
I need somebody else on this podcast. Like the three of you drive me absolutely. I know she's being silent, but I know all of this that's happening is her too.
That's
It's
what
like
we're talking
you guys
about,
don't
mental
understand. You guys got problems. That's what it is. No, I don't
Dude,
want
I
to be.
do.
I don't want to be left alone. I don't want to be left alone with my own thoughts because they're never positive.
Dude.
When I'm left alone with them, that's part of the reason why I surround myself with people and I'm around people all the times because I'm not always necessarily the most positive person in the world. I mean, you've been around me at all, you know that I can be down on myself pretty easy, or just down negative. But surrounding myself with positive people is one of those things that I know I off balance them a little bit. But man, they make it to where I don't like spiral down into an oblivion of
Right.
hell. You know, like that's what it's like for me when I'm left alone with my own thoughts. It never goes positive. So
Oh, well, sometimes it's just trying to find new ways to navigate. And then for me, it's just once I can start working through some of the other areas of my life where I'm like, all right, and make progress, feeling certain emotions and working through them on a more positive way, then I discover there's these other things. Recently, I discovered this about myself, and it's become a pattern which is hard for me to ignore anymore, is that for some reason, and I don't understand why, when something bad happens, it could be in my house, and it's not even nothing to do with me. It's not my fault. There's no reason for me to feel this way. But for instance, the other day we had that really hard rain. And the water was coming through we had this gutter system and it was overflowing. And all my wife was talking about was like, I wonder why this is happening. And immediately I start taking it out on myself as if this is my problem. And like she's going to get mad at me because this is happening. Like, where does that come from? And it happens like all the time. I just realized like, wait, I'm doing this to myself a lot. I'm taking this on as if this was my fault. And if I'm going to be in trouble because something's happened, and it happens in so many aspects of my life. And I'm like, I texted my wife the other day, and I was like, I may need to seek help again. And she's like, what? I was like, and she thought I was joking. And I was like, no, I really took this out of myself, and I don't know why I'm doing this now.
So, okay, let's go this route too with this conversation because it's Bible. I definitely don't believe that everything should be the devil made me do it, but there is that whisper, right? There is that putting thoughts into your head at the same time.
Okay.
Did you really not check that?
That's
to make
always in
sure
question, isn't it?
It wouldn't do that.
Doesn't that just irritate you?
Are you sure you didn't check that before? Are you sure you didn't screw something up when you
Is
were up
she
there
saying
earlier?
that
Did you say that?
because
So,
I didn't look at it.
One of my favorite depictions of Satan in anything at all whatsoever is, oh dang, I lost the movie. Viggo Mortensen plays Satan. You know, Viggo Mortensen
In
was
Constantine?
no. Viggo Mortensen was in Lord of the Rings. He was
okay.
Aragorn
Yeah.
from Lord of the Rings. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Anyways, favorite rendition of Satan because the dude's a good-looking dude, right? He's handsome. He's a slick, black, dressed up, you know, like, and he's just got this sweet little talk. Like he's got this whisper that he does in the movie, and it's sweet talking, and then it becomes really like that the tone shifts, but he's still doing that little,
Mhm.
you know, and it's like all of a sudden all the words are like stabby words, you know, bitey words, and it's like that. It's so true. Dang, I wish I could remember the name of the movie. It's a trilogy. It's got Anthony Hopkins? No, Christopher Walken in it.
The Prophecy?
Yeah, The
Yeah.
Prophecy. Thank
That's
you very
one
much.
of my favorite movies.
Dude,
Oh
that
my
he
gosh,
plays
all of them.
so
The Prophecy.
so the devil
Christopher Walken is.
the devil in that movie.
I share a birthday with him.
You do?
Hmm?
That's my boy.
The devil in that movie is Viggo Mortensen, and
Yes.
that is the best rendition I think I've ever seen, because
Yes.
it's just like he's like really smooth talky, and he
Yes.
just soft, gentle whisper until he gets angry because you're not doing what he wants and saying what he wants, and then he gets, you know, but his like his demeanor, it's so great, so
See,
great.
now
So like
that's how I feel about Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves. What was the name of that
The
movie?
Devil's Advocate?
The
Devil's Advocate. I
Devil's
still haven't seen
Advocate.
that, but I heard that
So
was really
I
good.
kinda-
That was wow.
I kind of felt like that, like Al Pacino, he was doing that insinuating. Like,
Are you sure?
You think you can't do that? You could do that. You know?
Yeah,
And it was
I haven't
like,
seen that movie, but
you've
I've been
never
told I
seen
need to
Devil's
see it. Yeah.
Advocate? Yeah, it's kind of.
But so, all that said, like, I feel like sometimes my thoughts are spurned on by that. You know, that little whisper of, I have no reason to talk trash about myself to
No.
myself at all.
You
I mean,
really
like,
don't.
I work hard. I fail at things. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but like, I work really hard to do things the right way. I work really hard to, you know, do the right things at the right times, and it's like, yet every time I'm alone, all I can do is talk trash to myself.
You know what my acronym
so
is for
I don't.
fail,
I feel
right?
like it's not just by myself that is causing this. You know.
You know what my
So-
acronym is for fail, right? First attempt in learning. How can you fail at something that you've never done before?
Yeah, for sure.
You know? Now if you do it a second and third time and you fail at it, but then you fail.
Then Carlene's
Like,
gonna make fun of you, but no.
then it's like, don't do that again. You know, but besides that, you can't fail at something you never knew about. You never tried.
Well-
And it's the same thing with
And the first failure doesn't stop until you realize it's one. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
until you realize, okay, this is a problem. I've got to stop it. I got to do something about it. That first
Mhm.
failure is continuing.
So, like, I will continue to call myself a new Christian, because until I have fully understand me and what God has and Jesus has in store for me, I'm always going to be a new Christian. 'Cause I'm always going to fall, scrape a knee, get back up.
Oh, you're going
try
to be a
to
new
get-
Christian until you die, aren't
I'm
you?
going to be a new Christian until I die. So,
But that
with-
also creates an excitement.
with my mental health, like, okay, my big thing is I don't like people to laugh at me.
Mm.
That
I'm
turns
sorry.
me into a whole totally different person.
Like when you say that, let's clarify. Like if you make a joke,
That's something different.
If you're being silly,
It's
we're
different.
talking
You
like
feel
embarrassment.
Like you're embarrassed.
I'm talking about embarrassed, like
Like
people.
if you stub your toe and somebody starts laughing, that makes you.
Well, not so much, not stubbing.
Okay, maybe
kind of
I'm
thing.
just trying
But
to.
embarrassing things,
But-
more on that
But
side.
something where
Oh, you
like
missed
you
this.
reacted to something, and then people started laughing at
Mm.
you. I don't like that. Don't laugh at me.
Yeah.
Because, and that's one of my things that I so desperately deal with is I react quick. On that note, it's like choop, the switch goes off, and I'm like, that's when it's like, are you laughing at me? Like, who the heck do you think you are?
Yeah.
You know, other things I can back away. I can. Okay. Go on about your business. I'm gonna let you know right now. You've got 5 seconds to get away from me. Period. But when you laugh at me, and that's a tough thing to deal with, because it's like I always say it's like I step outside of my Christianity because I'm so mad. Now my brain is like, You just, the devil, you just let people laugh at you.
Well,
Like-
it's one of the worst things he can attack is the one thing that humans have struggled with since the beginning, which is pride. Is when you have that prick to your pride, your self-confidence, we lose track of where our self-confidence comes from.
Right.
Where our
Right.
Our pride is not in ourselves. Our pride is in God. Our self-confidence doesn't come from ourselves. It comes from God.
Everything
Our
does.
identity isn't even of ourselves. We don't own ourselves. He owns
Right.
us. But the thing is, it's so easy to lose track of that for just a moment.
Yeah, the flesh
And-
takes over.
Yeah,
is what
and so
happens.
and the wrong voice, and so when one of the worst times is when you're feeling that I just messed up,
Mm-hmm.
and to have somebody compound that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm already beating myself up. I don't need you to
Correct.
do it as well.
Yeah.
Correct. And that is another
Because
thing.
now I'm going to be
I
like,
don't need
okay.
you to point out my faults. I
And
already
now I'm going to
know
think
them.
about who have you told about that, and then half the time I'm like, why am I even embarrassed? Like, they don't matter. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
these people don't matter in the grand
And that's
to me
after.
at least. Like,
That's after you've
Come back down from that.
Yeah.
after you go, wait a minute. But in
'Cause
that
they're-
split second, you
It's-
are like,
and it's like,
what? You're like ready to
I'm
fight.
like, okay, well, are they going to tell somebody else about this situation? And then I think, well, I've seen a lot of people do embarrassing things and not said anything about it to anybody else outside of that. Like,
People do embarrassing things in front of me all the time, and I just be like, it happens. I'm that person. It happens. It's not, I'm not going to start laughing at you because I don't know how that person's going to react.
I think it's fascinating. So I've always been a people watcher. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I just psychology, that's always been just fascinating to me, and so just to see, in social experiments, sitting out and watching people and how they react to different things, one of the most fascinating things to me is how people react to embarrassing situations. More often, it's the most intriguing things for me are when it's something they do. Like if my son slips and falls and accidentally drops something, and how that initial reaction starts in him, like what he's going to do next. And it could be anyone. Some people, just get really upset with themselves. Some people, it's interesting to me how they could mess up and then get angry at other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, it's such a switch. Or start blaming it instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's this, and they're looking
Right.
for any reason why it
to
was
take it
not
off
their
the
fault
focus
that
off
this
of them.
happened.
it's also interesting because people, like, I don't know, me, myself, like, when I do something embarrassing and it's something that bothers me, I actually, like, physically react to it. I get splotchy. I'll turn red and get splotchy.
She
There's
does have a
witness.
physical reaction. I mean,
actually
it's
have,
weird.
like, a physical
I
reaction.
mean, like
and
it's not.
it's a mental
something-
like it's definitely like it's all mental. Like I'm not
Yeah.
actually physically reacting. Like
I say it's
anything going
weird,
on.
but it's like it's.
My
I'd never
irises
seen
turn
anything like that before. Like red, right? Like I turn purple. Like when I get embarrassed, I like red
Instantly.
purple. Like I just
Instantly.
and I've learned to just kind of go through it. But like splotchy, like was interesting because like everybody can get rosy in the cheeks. You know what I mean? Like but it was crazy. It's it's a physical sign for me to shut up. That's what like or to be like, yo, stop
Right.
to somebody if they're
Right,
if they're
right.
like
Right.
whatever. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
interesting. The first person I've
I
ever
think my irises
come in contact with
turn
that does
black.
that.
When I get mad, my irises turn black, and then the straight face comes on, like, and I keep quiet. That's how my arguments with my husband go. He'll be saying stuff, and I'll be like, and he doesn't get a reaction, so he gets mad.
I'm more okay with that. Don't walk away.
I just don't.
Anyways,
I don't say anything. No, I because you got to give me time to process. Don't.
oh my
expect-
gosh, I need to get
Don't-
somebody in here that's more like me. This is
don't-
ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I get you.
Right?
So, like, for instance, if I've done, and don't get me wrong, There are plenty of times where what has happened is my fault. I've done something stupid. I've forgotten to do something. I've neglected something.
Right.
And my wife's mad at me. And she wants to talk to me about this. We're going to say talk. She wants to talk to me about this. And I do not.
She was talking at you.
I shut down because a couple things. I've learned also that there's nothing I'm going to add to this
Not in a state
that is going to help this situation. And if I can't think of anything that's going to not set this off on fire more than it already is, then I just won't say anything. So I'm analyzing everything she says. I'm taking
You have to think about it. Why would you want to, if you're in a heated debate or argument or whatever, why would you want to talk to that person at that particular time? First of all,
I'll tell you.
You haven't given
me.
You haven't given me the opportunity to think about what was said. 2, I don't want to blurt out stupidness that's going to cause this, like adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So give me a second. Don't, because if you're going to me, I'm going to you.
For me, I am the opposite with that. Mm-hmm. But here's why for me. Because if we're just going to be silent, I'm going to get angrier. If we blow up now and you fuel the fire, mine burns out, and then I've realized all that was going on, and I process it. But if I don't have that fuel on the fire to explode, like mine, the fuse goes from we should just light it at both ends to I'm gonna light it at this end. If you won't have that fuel on the fire with me, my fuse goes slow. But if you'll just light it at the other end, we'll get this over with, and then we can talk about it later. Like, I will apologize. I'll do all of those things because I'll realize how stupid I was being, which I'm going to be anyways. Like, I'm going to be stupid anyways, even if it's a slow burn. So, like, let's just get this over with. Give me that fuel. Because I'm not going to, any time that we're in an argument, anybody, I know we're going to say stupid things because that's what people do in arguments. They say stupid things. It's not stuff that they mean, and they may mean it at the time, but that doesn't mean anything, right? Like,
but it's your perception of how you take it. Now, remember, the tongue is a sword, a very sharp sword. So
Absolutely.
Even though I may think what I'm saying to you, I don't mean it, but I'm trying to jab at you.
Right.
It's going to hurt you because at that particular time, your perception of
in the
what
now,
is going on.
In the now, it's going to hurt, right?
Yes,
like that's what's called a fear cycle, right?
Yes.
Like in the now, it's going to hurt, and that's then responded with something that's going to hurt. But when we step away from that,
Matt's got color
we're gonna
now.
argue. We're gonna argue. It's
Matt's
coming.
got color to him right now.
When you step away from that,
right now?
when you step away from that, though, like seriously, like. You know, especially if you know the other person, when you step away from all that, you know that person wasn't really trying to hurt you. They were hurting you in the moment, but they didn't want that hurt to happen to you. A lot of times, I'm the one starting it.
But Derek, listen to your thing here. If I said it, it was already stewing.
See,
but are you sure that it wasn't me that planted it in your brain because I started the fire?
Okay, no. So here's the thing.
And if that's the case, I want you to tell it to me way before that fight happens.
For me,
if you want to say negative things to me, or you're thinking it, say it, because I just want it blunt. I want to hit it blunt.
You don't understand.
I don't want to hit a blunt. I want to get hit bluntly.
For me, this is a self-control issue.
Yes.
Wow.
Because
I know.
If I did that, so okay.
Lizzie's the same way. I already know what you're going to say. I've already had this conversation with my wife.
You don't understand.
I do understand. That it's ridiculous.
I'll use my wife as an example. I love her so much. Mm-hmm. I'm not willing to risk that for what could possibly come out of my mouth.
Okay, then why do you already think those things about her?
It's not that I think them. It's that when I get angry, I start to get irrational. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, don't let it build.
Right.
Don't let it build. Don't let it build.
Exactly.
Bring it down. Keep it level.
That's what I'm talking about. But that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about with Carlene. And Carlene saying it's already stewing. Well, no, you get irrational in those things, and that's why I can just let all of that go. She can say things that are really hurtful because she knows exactly what hurts me, right? Because we're that close. We love each other. We know each other. She can say the things that are actually going to hurt. But once we step away from that, it's not staying with me.
Here's how I learned how to do it. I'll tell you exactly how I learned how to do it. Is this, because once you've been told things you can never get taken back, that's when I learned. When I went through a divorce in my early 20s, my ex-wife said things to me that once you say them, you can't ever take them back.
You rang the bell.
Like, they're out there forever now. They're soul-crushing moments of time that you can never recover from. Ever. I can't allow myself to say anything that I don't mean, that I cannot take back.
That's why
because I'm upset. I don't want to say something to be hurtful because I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to hurt the other person.
Well, and
frustration is
that
not
makes
a
a lot of
reason to
sense
let
because
myself.
you are all in the same boat on that. But you probably have trouble sleeping at times because you're thinking about all the things you possibly could have done during the day to hurt anybody else. And I sleep pretty soundly. And I'm not saying either one of them's great. I'm not saying either one of them's great. I'm saying there's got to be some balance to that, isn't there? No, but there's got to be some balance to that because just because you guys need to stew and sit and think before we have this conversation, what about what my needs are? Because it's not fair. It's not fair to say that my needs are wrong in that, is it?
No.
So then, where is that balance? Where is that balance? Because this is something we've tried to work on.
So if you ever want to bring somebody in, bring Orlando in. You and Orlando are spot on.
But seriously though, like I would like to know like what is a legitimate give and take in that situation? Because if I know that, if I know what that could be, then I'm willing to try that. But like, don't say that because one of the things that triggers me, I hate the word triggered, but one of the things that drives me nuts, right, is the whole, like, my feelings aren't valid. Well, that's not what I said, A. But B, now you're making it sound like my feelings aren't valid for me saying that. And so, like, feelings are completely valid on both sides of the coin, even if they're not accurate, right, like, of the situation. So how do we balance that?
I think it's when it gets to that point. Like, I haven't had that time. Like, if you say one thing to me, you know what people tend to do is they want to throw 15 things at you at one time, and you need to process all 15 of those things right then and there so I can give you a response.
Yeah,
it doesn't work like that. Analytical people don't do that.
No,
We're the people who need the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Okay, and the thing is, we're gonna have this discussion. Let's have it on that topic that's happening right now. Don't bring up something that happened 10 years ago.
Or something that's completely irrelevant.
So,
oh my gosh, my ex-wife. There was a time she was, so the day I left her, that was the argument. Because she was mad. We lived in a duplex, and her parents lived above us, and they would invite us up to dinner, like, all the time. And there was a day where I got home, they're like, we want you to come up to dinner. I was like, cool, fine, I'll just wait for her to get home. And it took her a little longer to get home that day. And then her parents decided to eat without us. And then they took it out on her. And then she took it out on me. And I went up there to be like, what's up? Why are you. And then I ended up getting in a loud argument with her father to come down and have her arguing with me about it. But she had nothing to stand on. So then she's bringing in the fact that I forget to take the trash cans up. Like, first off, that has nothing to do. And I was so exhausted with fighting with her about ridiculous stuff at this point in my life that I was like, I've got to get out of this house.
The trash cans. Did I throw dinner in there or something? Like.
But here's the thing. For people like me that process differently than you guys do, like, you guys just stop talking.
Yep.
That's not good for us. We need you to say, look, I understand that this is a problem, but I need time to think. And we need you to say that in the moment.
Well, the problem is
I do, And sometimes you just continue.
See? Boom!
Look,
Oh my gosh!
but
call
you don't. You
Orlando
don't
on-
usually.
Can I
Not
call
until we're in the
Orlando?
middle. Of,
There's
like,
times I've
until
tried-
we're
nope,
fighting.
nope,
that doesn't generally happen.
I
But
would rather wait till both of us are calm, cool heads, and we can have an actual discussion
Oh my
without getting
gosh.
heated up.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yeah.
how
I know.
well, I'll
it's-
talk to you in a
it's
few
terrible.
months. You know, like that's where it's at. Like because if especially, oh
it's-
man,
There's
and
things
it,
I won't
terrible.
talk to with my wife until I know she's in a good mood. 'Cause I'm
well, I
not-
don't want you to talk to me in a good mood about it. That's just going to ruin my good mood.
No, I mean in a mood where I can talk to her without her,
Rational.
yeah.
you know, like
See, there's no balance in that. Then, like that's seriously like there's like a lack of balance there somewhere.
I just need my rational mind to accept what's coming in.
But there needs to be communication in there, and there
Well,
needs to be
but-
communication of that.
But
And-
what else can you say besides hitting you in the head and saying, "Hey, didn't I just say I don't want to talk about it right now?"
Yeah, but that okay, no, you can't say it like that
I need time to
because that is a
process.
fighting argument.
No,
that is a
that's
fighting
what
thing.
that's
So
what I
like,
Like,
Okay,
I need
I
time
get
to
quiet.
process.
You say what you have to say. I'm like, can you just let me
hey,
just think
I
about
want to
this?
talk about this, but I can't do it right now because I've got to process all this stuff. Here, we can talk about it
I'ma try
in a
that.
day or two. You know, just I mean, like, give some kind of time frame because it's like we're never gonna deal with this. Like that was one of the things. Like even in a situation where,
Kinda sweep it under the rug.
with
I
how
know,
are
right,
we
it's
on
not
time,
there.
by the way?
we're fine. With our debt, school loans, right? We had a school loan. We still have a school loan. She does through her aunt, who is through her mom and dad, through her aunt, because her aunt paid off the school loan, so there wasn't a ton of interest and yeah. It was supposed to be a good thing, right? All in all. So, but me being husband, who's now the financial leader of the household, have no way of knowing, tracking how much we owe, how much am I just going to be paying this set amount for the rest of my life on this thing, right? So like that's how my brain works,
Okay.
right? She was cool paying it until her parents said it was done because she just whatever, it's good. But me, I'm like I'm trapped. So like having that knowledge of the time frame, having that clear communication,
Okay, I can kinda understand that.
even if it's in an angry tone, I can handle it. But like I gotta know that we're gonna actually deal with this thing.
I guess I'm on the fence about that too. Like that's reasonable, and I can understand that.
And I'm not saying that we're gonna respond perfectly, just like you're not gonna always respond perfectly
Right.
to what. But there's got to be a give and take, and generally there's not, and that's why there's a breakdown between the two. Is because we all want to just take whenever we're in an argument, right? We all just divert to what we do, and that's not just you all on your side, but on our side for sure.
Interestingly enough, the time I will engage with my wife is when it's not something that is going to be, detrimental to our marriage or my week. Like, for instance, like my wife and I get in what we call heated agreements, where we're trying to talk about the same thing, but we describe it differently. So then we're really trying to. The first time we realized which was is there was
We
I
have those
swear to
quite
you.
frequently.
That's
It was
every
a-
time my mouth is open.
No, but there was a couch. There was a couch. We were having people over for I think it was a birthday party or something, and she was trying to tell me she wanted a couch a certain way, and I was trying to tell her I wanted the same couch a certain way. What we ended up finding out is that we're getting into a heated argument, trying to tell each other the exact same thing in two different ways. And somehow that gets some of that out for us.
It's because the communication is
because
not
if I know it's a serious matter,
good with humans.
nope.
Yeah, well,
If it's something stupid, like if a couch should be moved one place or another, yeah, I'll get into it. Because that's not going to affect if I'm sleeping in my bed with my wife that night. It's not going to affect.
well, see, and I guess that comes. I have a different mindset towards that. A, you're not throwing me out of my house. B, you're not throwing me out of my bed. Like, and she feels the same way. You're not throwing me out of my house. You're not throwing me out of my bed. If I'm gonna sleep in my bed, I'm gonna sleep in my bed. Like, and also we have this agreement that there is nothing gonna come between us.
I say there's things not
So-
actually. There's never been a time.
I'm not picking on
marriage where
you.
That's been
I'm
a
not
thing.
picking on you, but that's on the
still, like,
forefront of our minds. So I guess there's nothing that she could say to me that would be that detrimental.
well, for me,
There
no,
is
it's just
nothing that
I'm
she could
not
say to me
willing
that would be that detrimental.
I'm not willing to put myself in a serious matter in a
Challenge
place where,
accepted.
if it's something that's trivial, sure, I'll engage. If it's something I feel is serious, whether I feel like I'm in the right, which is probably less than when I feel like I'm in the wrong because I do stupid stuff. But I'm not going to engage there because, especially if I know darn well I'm in the wrong, there is nothing I need to engage with except to hear everything she's got to say. I'll talk about it later. I'll do the best I can.
know you're in the wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, I won't even, I will say sorry, but I don't, and I don't know why. I don't know why that happened. I don't know why.
I don't know.
And
I'm not
and
saying
that's the
you guys
honest truth.
I know that you guys need to process that way. I get that. I don't understand it, but I get that that's how you guys need to process. But there is a give and take, and that's something we got to learn. I don't know how this became like marriage and argument session.
Yeah, we went from mental health
no,
to
no,
marriage
no,
health.
no, no.
I
But
think
see,
that is all mental
that
health.
is
But
all
communication,
mental health.
communication through a lot of that stuff, and communicating the little hurts early on prevents the big blow ups most of the time. But the fact that we just or we'll talk to ourselves about it instead of talking to the person that actually like we have an
it's
issue
so
with.
much talking to yourself. It's just
I talk to myself
rationalizing it.
about it.
I rationalize everything.
Your anger?
Everything's
Yeah.
got to be rationalized.
Let me ask you a question. I know you do it, so I don't need to ask you this. Do you find yourself purposely, constantly, whether you realize it or not, because you might not realize it till I say what it is, you're preemptively getting a lot of this out of the way all the time by picking on your spouse? Like, here's what I know you pick on your spouse. So Sadie, like, I will just pick at her. Not like, it's not like I'm not picking at her appearance or anything that's harsh or bullying-ish. Like, I'll just mess with her a little bit just to get her going a little bit, just because it's fun, but it's to keep that kind of clearing out of the way. Like, for me, like, if she's like, I want you to nail that over there. And you're like, over there? And just to see her go, no, that's not what I said, just for a second, just so she can go, okay.
The reaction.
But there's that little bit of build-up and then like release. I do that all the time.
Why do you do that?
Because it's safe. Compared to other things, it's safe to get a little bit of that out.
But
because
is it because you're frustrated with something?
Nope.
Or like what? Just
Nope. Because I'm making sure there's nothing there. I'm constantly doing it. Constantly. It's a psychological thing where I'm constantly testing the water with her.
But see, the problem is like there could be nothing there, and those of us who are the opposite want to engage even when there's nothing there, just because we kind of enjoy it. We have this like sadistic, masochistic. Though you like to hurt yourself, right? Like that kind of a mentality about it. Like,
luckily, my wife is not you.
I like right. No. I understand, and this is just a me, right? But like I'm down to fight about anything because I enjoy the thrill of the fight. Like. So, and not that it has to be like a fight, like fight, but I'll argue about anything, you know? And so, like, doing that could spark a big argument that I didn't know was going to be a big argument. Like, I didn't know that was going to be something big.
Well, usually the things I do are just
safe.
kind of, they're kind of cheeky. They're kind of ridiculous.
I'm saying there's nothing safe with me.
Well, yeah. With her, if I feel like I'm pushing too often, I'll back off. But, like...
No, she goes 13-year-old boy on me.
Yeah, so that one.
Not 13.
That's how I flirt.
That's how she flirts. Oh,
She darts.
That's how she flirts.
She darts.
I don't.
That's crazy.
Not that I have an issue with confrontation. I'm
gonna confront you about that.
It's like a waste of my time. I'm sorry.
That's all of my time.
Like it is. Like I don't even want to argue about it. Like I don't even want. It's not. And I can debate some hands down, but I just don't feel like dealing with it.
That's how I process my
not
stuff.
like
Though.
your time and energy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I've got.
I get that.
50 million other things that roll around in my brain.
I have a hard
and
time
you wanna
understanding other
argue
people. Yeah.
About this, so it's like that's my thought process. It's like.
Honestly.
What? Because I don't hold your hand while we watch a movie.
Honestly, I want to debate everything.
Here, hold my foot.
I want to argue about everything, but that's how I process everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you and I could get into a heated argument.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's over, I'm going to go process that. And I'm going to actually take everything you had to say into consideration.
Right.
And that's going to inform my next conversation with you, but it's also going to inform my next conversation about that topic.
Right.
And so, whereas, like, a lot of people can just sit back and like receive the information that your thought process or whatever, your thoughts on the matter. And so unless we're like sitting down in this setting, you know, in a just a conversation setting,
Oh yeah.
I struggle with processing things other ways.
Well, see,
like I just do.
what I'm doing.
Not that that's healthy. I'm not saying that's healthy.
What
but
I'm doing is I'm setting myself up to engage with my wife at the setting that I love her to engage with her the most. I love my wife. I love her mind. I love getting to great conversation with her.
Sure.
I'll talk to her about anything and everything. And I did not marry stupid. I married a very brilliant woman. And so to engage with her intellectually is wonderful for me. I prefer to do that. If she's heated, I'm not going to have an intellectual conversation. Let's do everything I can to get to where we can do it that way versus the other.
That's how she wants me to interact. But that intellectual sparring is what that argument is.
I think
so. For me, so
thank you. You just opened my eyes to something that I've been dealing with also. When Orlando and I first got together, I said to him, I said, look, I'm not all about this big flashy stuff. I'm not about that. If you can provide me intellectual stimulation, I'm good. That means that you pick my brain, I pick your brain. We have topics, things to discuss. We don't have that.
Yeah. The other day, I think
I think that he and I have had those kinds of things. I just think he thinks about things a little differently, and my problem. I think he's probably got a similar problem to me, and that is when my mouth opens, what I say and mean is not what you guys hear. Anything that comes out of my mouth typically is not the way other people perceive it and take it in. And I don't know why that is. It's been that way my whole life. You two could have an argument, and everything that comes out of your mouth, you guys understand, and it'd probably be less of an argument. I have an argument with anybody, just like the whole we can be saying the same thing, right? Everything that comes out of my mouth, people don't seem to understand what I'm trying to say. Right. And then whenever we get done, and you're like, I've been saying this the whole time, you're like, I have too. Like, this is why didn't you understand what I'm trying to say? You know, so I think he's probably got a lot of that just coming from a different angle and not saying things the right way, because I do that all the time, and it makes me look stupid.
That opened my eyes, because I'm telling you,
the problem with people like you is that if there was all right, if there was
here we go, that's fighting words.
Stop.
Let's go.
If there was an apple, right, between the two of us, and it really did look identical on both sides of the apple, right? Your problem is why you get heated is you want me to see it from your side of the table.
Yeah.
And I'm just seeing it from my side of the table. But you're not going to be happy unless I see it from your side of the table.
Correct.
And since I can't physically take up the same space you are, that's the argument.
Right. No, and I get that. But here's the thing. Like, I also, at the same time as I expect you to see it from my side of the table, I want to see it from your side of the table. And that's what sparks the arguments. You're absolutely right.
That is the problem with me.
As
I'm trying to give you my side of the table, you're still trying to force your side of the table. That's the argument.
And this is why Revelation isn't as important people say.
This is why you sit on the same side of the table.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He likes to try to push.
I'm just kidding.
Or how about you slice the apple in half and just lay both sides so you
All
can
right.
see it?
So, Carlene, we are out of time.
The intellectual conversation.
We've like totally.
We strayed, but you know what? It was all in a mental health sense.
If you can wrap this up, because this is your topic, you were thinking it's on your heart, it's on your mind. Like, what are some things that we can take with us, at least over the course of the next week, that we can be thinking about, that we can be trying out, that we can be doing whatever?
There are different verses in the Bible that you can, when you're feeling anxious, when you feel lonely, when you feel depressed, that you can read. I literally went and bought a book because I said I needed something smaller at work that I can that I can read when I need to, real quick, because
All
my
right.
Bible's big. So,
Pitch the book. What do we got?
It's
You got a
called Keep
book
Calm
pitch?
and Trust God by Jake Province and Keith Province.
All right, show the camera. Show the pretty people. Well, your hand's covering it up.
Over 1 million copies sold.
Sweet.
1 million.
1 million.
But like it talks about anxiety, worry, fear, depression, pressure, that type of stuff. And I haven't started it yet because yesterday I hadn't had a chance to really look at it. But it gives you different verses to go and look at in order to understand why you're feeling anxious and how you can calm your anxiety down. Prayer, there's a little prayer in there that actually helps. You can pray to hopefully help you deal with your anxiety and stress and wanting to give up and all that other stuff. So like I recommend, especially for people who have a lot of mental health issues, sometimes it's okay to find something that will help you still learn about the Bible and learn how you don't have to always be on all those medications. Because once you start to achieve that happiness, that enlightened level, the need for medication becomes less and less. Because now you're focused on something other than your sickness. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's good stuff. I wonder if every argument started out with prayer, how much communication would actually happen in the midst of what's going on, how quickly that you guys would be able to process, and how slow we could be on my side of the coin to speak some of those aggressive tones.
What's the saying? Be
Slow to speak, quick
Slow to speak.
Slow to speak and
Slow to anger.
and slow to anger,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that
Quick
goes
to
for
listen.
both sides of the table.
Right.
And I might try that. I'm gonna take that challenge. Because I already know
Ooh.
there's going to be a couple of arguments this
There you
week. Because
go.
I can already feel them brewing.
The interruption. Try that whole, like, instead of
instead-
give me a minute to, but say, like, hey,
Let's
can we
say-
pray about
Let's
this?
pray first before
Yeah.
we have this discussion.
I wonder how
maybe
that would
then
work.
And you know what? And
Give it a
here's the
couple of
thing.
times.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to record it.
Yep.
I'm going to record it. Because then, for me, I can go back and look and say, how could I have done that differently? And that's where our rational minds come in, is that when you go to sleep and we're like, how could I have handled that better?
Oh, dude.
So-
Stuff I think about all the time. It's ridiculous.
One thing for anybody who's thinking about doing the same thing, let him know before you do it the first time.
Of course.
Okay. I was going to say, like,
I'm not
let
just
the
gonna-
other person know.
Hey, like,
before
hold
they
on,
do
let
it
me
the first
record
time.
this
Like,
argument.
Hey, we're going to pray, and I'm going to record the argument
Right.
afterwards. Like,
Right.
tell him, like, hey, this is something I'm going to try to do so that we can better communicate in the midst of an argument.
Right.
And I think that could go a long way. Let's try it out.
Why not?
Let's pray, and then you and I are going to get into a really heated debate.
And see where it goes. Because you know what, though?
I don't have the energy
No.
Your
for you
mind's
today.
always going to go
I
back
know.
to it. Your mind's always going to go back to the prayer.
Now
and
you
you're
know how
gonna
I
be
feel
like,
every
wait.
day.
Yeah.
So try that out. Try stopping.
Yep.
Breaking the cycle of the fear cycle is an important thing in any argument, but break it with, hey, let's pray about this first.
Yep.
I mean, we can disagree all day long, and we can be upset all day long, but let's start with prayer, because at least we're starting on common ground and understand that the foot is level at the foot across, the ground is level at the foot of the cross, and keep calm, trust God, God bless.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Make sure to subscribe and give us a like on iTunes and Spotify so that you will never miss a show. And while you're at it, check out our Facebook and Instagram pages and make sure you tell your friends about this show. You don't want them to miss out on the truth, because we are all about the truth here. Thanks for joining us this week, and God bless.